you listen to me? I got that flavor, I know you're dying to feed. I ain't no dancer, just got some hip in my feet. Now throw your hands up. Ooh, you bring the lighter, I got the fuse. You make a fire, I'll add the fuel. Follow my lead, just watch the shoes. Gotta turn the heat up to get this cool.
Welcome back to the Kempire channel, your number one source for pop culture news and music, entertainment, reality TV, and so much more. You know, I couldn't let Thursday go by without us at least talking about Vanderpump Rules. I might be on a mini vacation, but that doesn't mean I'm not watching our stories. And I have to say, I probably wouldn't have done a recap of Vanderpump Rules if there wasn't something for me to talk about or react to. I know everyone is still reacting to our video that we did yesterday in regards to Pizzagate and the whole situation that's playing out in regards to the Real Housewives of New Jersey. So before we get into Vanderpump Rules, I did want to say a brief thing. You know, we are always saying this. We're going to put it on a t-shirt. Be team you, be team us, whatever. I'm team me, always. Team Kempire. However, I don't know. I just don't know if it's the algorithm. As I was swiping through Twitter the last couple of days, and you already know, I'm not team Gorga, I'm not team, Teresa, I'm not a tree hugger, none of that. But the levels that people are going to defame, to discredit just because they are team whatever, it's almost sickening. It's almost sickening to see that people are willing to destroy people's lives, credibility, their families, just so that they can be proven correct about a person. That big gotcha moment. And I it just makes me feel uncomfortable when I see the levels that people are going to. And I've told you guys this so many times that I don't believe that housewives are necessarily behind it. Yes, I do believe that housewives do play those games. However, I also understand that there are people that are just fans that will do things for free, that will do things of their own volition. So, as we move into a moment right now where fans are very upset with Tom Sandoval and everything that's going on with his cheating situation and Tom Schwartz's possible involvement, or what did he know? When did he know? We're going to talk about that briefly, but I do want to talk a little bit about the episode. It's interesting to watch Scheana's first wedding as I'm watching everything that's playing out right now with her second wedding to Brock. I don't have any feeling towards her first husband. I know he had his struggles with addiction and things like that. So I can understand. For me, he's likable. Brock is likable. We don't get much of them on the show. I probably like Brock more than her previous husband. James Kennedy, as you know, the last week's episode ended with James Kennedy going off on Lala, going off on Ariana, Ariana shutting him down. We're seeing this side of Ariana. I know a lot of you might be familiar with this side of Ariana, but we're seeing this side of Ariana, at least this season, where she's just not taking anyone's BS. I don't believe she's taken anyone's BS before, but she's like shutting James Kennedy down. And James Kennedy's girlfriend, Allie, is like, just gonna walk away. Interesting. But he's like, look, now you forced my girlfriend to leave. James Kennedy, I can see where some of you have hitched your wagon to James Kennedy in the past for different reasons, because there's so many unlikable people on this show. There are quite a few. I don't even really have anyone in my head besides maybe like an Ariana, but Ariana, she might be likable, but she's also not. If you did a show just about Ariana, I don't think people would watch. But you need people like Ariana to bring balance to this unlikable cast of folks. But I'm sort of like on this roller coaster with Scheana. I'm on this roller coaster with Katie. This episode, I felt for Katie. I felt for Katie this season because honestly, I believe if Katie's uncomfortable and she's in a friend group, she's uncomfortable with Scheana trying to make Raquel kiss her not even ex-husband at this present point. Of course, now they're exes, but at this point in the filming, they're not exes. If she's uncomfortable with that, just let it be. Leave it alone. And it's very clear their divorce is an interesting divorce. Their relationship is an interesting situation. But I can see why Katie was like, you know what? I'm done being married to a man that is a man child, that is not showing growth, that's not maturing. After all these years, Schwartz is still Schwartz. Look, people like Schwartz, I'm sure, are probably in your lives where they're just, I don't know what the word is to describe Schwartz. I've been calling him the town idiot just because of what I've been seeing, at least in the last few episodes. It's crazy to watch season 1, 2, 3, and 4 and see that Schwartz has not changed. If anything, he's gotten worse. And I can see why Katie's just like, I'm not doing this anymore with you. You will choose anyone over me. And we're just talking about being team you. She's in her team me season, and I'm here for it. Good for you, Katie. I don't love you all the time, which is fine. But I can appreciate you finally making the decision for yourself. I need to be with someone that's going to defend me. Call me out on my BS, but defend me when necessary. And there have been moments where Tom should have defended Katie, or at least had her back, because you know what? We had shared a life together, years together. We spoke in front of God and committed to each other, and you still cannot defend me. You cannot defend me. And I think he reaped the rewards of being with someone because he couldn't be with a lot of people. Let's be honest. He might be a good looking guy. He's okay. But his personality will make women go like, "Huh?" And I'm not sure what his, in and out game is either. I, I mean, the people that have the real good in and out game are usually the ones that will surprise you. But I have a feeling that his is not that great. Katie, see, these are the questions. If I'm going to do an interview with Katie, I'm not asking Katie about Sandoval. I want to understand this relationship. Well, how was the sex, Katie? Let's talk about that. Let's talk about other things. Is it the sex that was a problem in the relationship, besides him not defending you? Even though I believe that is the top part of what was going on in their relationship. So, Katie, speaking of Katie in this episode, I get it. Katie, we're filming a show, guys. So I know somebody's like, why is Katie there? Why? They're filming a show. They wanted Katie to be there. They wanted to recreate moments that we've had in past seasons. And it's also to add to the drama that she's having with Scheana. Scheana has moved her to a whole other place. Rachel decided to come to the room, even though Sheena's like, I really was joking. I don't. Raquel doesn't have those social cues, but she was like, it was badass for her to go up to Katie and Christina. Well, Christina Kelly, I liked you, and this is why it's important to watch the older seasons. I kind of liked you when I first was introduced to you in season 10, and I'm just sort of like, I can see why people don't necessarily like you. You sort of do have pick me vibes. Why are you hanging out? You were literally invited by Katie to come on this trip for your birthday. Why are you hanging out with Scheana and her friends? Why were you at that dinner? You're lucky Katie's not making a big. Maybe that's your problem, though, Katie. You need to start setting boundaries, because I invited you to this celebration to be with me, not to be celebrating with Scheana, who has alienated me from everyone and now is alienating me from the pool. And Rachel decides to come to their room to be like, I've been told that she would like for you not to be there and blah 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 blah. Okay, girl. Okay, girl. All right. So what else happens? So the guys are having their, first of all, Lala and Scheana are having their own issues. After we had that really sweet moment with them a couple of episodes ago with Lala, Brock, and Scheana, I did not expect that Lala. I don't know, Lala, choose a side, and I'm not saying to choose necessarily, because I love to twerk on a fence, but it just seems like you're going to this whole situation. You're going to this wedding for Scheana, so celebrate with Scheana. So be there for your friend. Katie's there, but you can see Katie another day, another time. But it seems like you don't want to be there for Scheana. Oh, I don't want to be in these small events because of Raquel. Really? You're not there for Raquel. If Raquel's there, fine. But like, pay her dust. She's not that interesting anyway. You could literally be having a whole conversation with the entire group and forget that Raquel's even there. Let's be honest, y'all. They love to be like, "Oh, Raquel's so beautiful." That is all she is. N- the elevator doesn't go all the way to the top with Raquel. Sorry. And those inappropriate smiling and laughing moments when people normally would be like, "Hmm." Then I'm like, we've talked about this when it comes to Raquel, okay? Moving on from that. So, Katie and Christina have been alienated from anything, but we also have this separate dinner with Katie and Tom Schwartz that turns to Ish because he again cannot defend her and she ends up crying. And it's like, "Oh, no, 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 sorry." And then she gets up and she walks away and he's like, "Well, I'm going to finish my steak." And then he tries to text her. You are not, and this is why she had to finally put a line in the sand and say that this relationship is over. You cannot at any I've told you what I need. I told you what I want. And you can't do that. You can't do that as a husband, you can't do that as a boyfriend, and you definitely can't do it as a friend. So she gets him, she leaves. Instead of going after her, he's like, "Well, I'm gonna finish my steak. Well, I'll text her now." Katie, you made the right decision, girl. You made the right decision. We'll talk more about Tom and the Watch What Happens Live conversation because there are points that we need to talk about in regards to the whole Sandoval situation. But before we get to that, so Lala is having a difficult time because she wants to hang out with Katie. She wants to be there for Katie. We even had that awkward moment where Tom Schwartz comes over to Katie, Lala, and Christina having dinner, and she's like, he makes you feel bad for him, but he's totally wrong in the situation." And she's like, "I feel for you, Katie, but I don't know. It's just something that I think people do feel bad for Tom Schwartz because he doesn't seem like someone that's intentionally trying to be hurtful and inappropriate. But at some point, you have to hold people accountable. I mean, unless he's been diagnosed with something, you have to hold them accountable. Anyways, so I'm trying to remember everything from the episode, guys. If you're just joining us, be sure to like the video, be sure to subscribe, be sure to share your thoughts. How would you rate this episode? I feel like the episodes probably will not get really, really interesting until closer to the end of the season, but we don't have that many more episodes. We're already beyond mid-season, and they just filmed the reunion. We're not going to go through the reunion looks. I don't really watch Vanderpump Rules on that level to talk about the reunion looks like we do with our other shows. However, I will say this: the people that I felt like looked the best probably was definitely Ariana. I liked Ariana's look, which you probably seen Ariana's look on Halle Bailey and some other people as well. It's actually a top and a skirt. She looks good. She looks red. She's got her revenge body going on. Good for her. I hear, according to reports, she really rips into Tom Sandoval and Raquel during the reunion, but mostly Sandoval. And according to Andy Cohen, we may be getting some extras in regard to the reunion on Peacock. Shameless plug. Their shameless plug. I get nothing from it. But I'm letting you guys know for those that may have missed it. This is where, during our Vanderpump Rules recap, this is where I update you on what I've been watching in regards to that. What's the news in regards to Vanderpump Rules instead of doing separate videos talking about it. We just don't have the time or the bandwidth. But stay tuned tomorrow for our recap of Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip. Although I'm on my Ultimate Girls Trip, not really. But I will be watching it, and at some point tomorrow, I will be releasing my recap of it. So stay tuned for that. If you enjoy in content like this, be sure to subscribe and be sure to like this video. But if I had to rate this episode of Vanderpump Rules, I probably would rate it a 7 because I felt it was solid. I'm paying attention to some of the signs and symptoms of Scandival playing out here, which we will talk about in just a second. So the guys are having their boys trip. James Kennedy, very much like me in this way, a boys trip like this where the guys are drinking and humping and slapping each other on the butt. Not necessarily my type of fun. However, I enjoyed seeing Brock in a speedo and some of his friends. Some of his friends are good looking. Let's be honest. But every time I see Tom Sandoval, I think about the rumors that he has an odor to him. So I'm just like, "Ugh, he's all over people, and but maybe they have odors to themselves. Brock has admitted that he needs a reminder to brush his teeth. Just saying. Um, What else happened during this episode that's worth even talking about? For me, the biggest parts of this episode was Tom Schwartz. It's Tom Schwartz, Tom Schwartz, Tom Schwartz, which is, shout out to Watch What Happens Live. He was the perfect guest to have this week because this episode was all about Tom Schwartz. It really wasn't about Scheana. Scheana's definitely a little bit more low key than her first wedding, but she is a little annoying. She's still a little annoying because she's like, I feel like Katie's gonna ruin my wedding. And like she's making it more about everyone else besides her having a good time and enjoying herself. But again, this is being filmed, so part of this is all orchestrated for for the television show. But Lala does warn Allie during the girls, outing on this um, boat about getting lost in James Kennedy. And to be honest with you, I know James didn't appreciate her giving this warning to Allie, but knowing what Lauren has gone through, I can appreciate it. In that moment, her having this heartfelt conversation with her, I can appreciate her talking about it because we do, during this weekend that I'm away, I'm of course having conversations with friends and things like that. And we're talking about relationships and how people do get lost in relationships for whatever reason because they're desperate to, have a relationship or to get married or do whatever. People will stay and do and lose themselves in relationships. And this is exactly what Lauren is talking about with Allie. Don't lose yourself in this. But I can already see that Allie is going to lose herself because she doesn't really hold the power in this relationship with James Kennedy. And I feel like everything that Lala's saying is going in one ear and out the other. Hopefully not. Hopefully she's like, you know what, you're right. And she will wake up to it. I don't see this relationship with James Kennedy working out with Allie because I feel like he's taking advantage of her being so timid. So I did appreciate that moment for me in regards to Lala and the perspective that she gained from being in the relationship with Randall and how she lost herself and how you wake up one day and you're like, what happened? Speaking of waking up one day and figuring like what happened, Katie. So as you know, at the top of this episode of Vanderpump Rules, we have Katie have that dinner with Tom Schwartz, which goes awry. Then Tom Schwartz is partying all day. He's drunk. He comes over to Katie to ask her to cut his hair. I think he doesn't. I think part of him really means that, but in part of him is just trying to break the ice by being his quirky, silly self. You really should probably start saying, "We can't be friends. You got to stop calling me Bubs, Bubba, whatever, um, anymore, because it's just not working. It's just not working." So let's talk about anything else from this episode that I wanted to talk about. I'm keeping it brief because I do feel like these last few episodes of Vanderpump Rules have been lackluster. They haven't been as interesting, besides really paying attention to some of the little things in regards to Raquel and Tom Sandoval's relationship, which is a perfect segue. So shout out to our friends over at Face Reality 16 on Instagram. They gave us some notes. I did watch some clips from Tom Schwartz being on Watch What Happens Live with Andy Cohen, and I just needed these notes to kind of break down some of the things that he pointed out in regards to Tom Sandoval and how this relationship developed, the timeline of how this relationship developed with Rachel. Okay, so here are some of the notes they wrote. Knew about the Tom Sandoval says that he knew about the one night stand with Tom Sandoval. Schwartz says he knew about the one night stand with Tom Sandoval and Rachel in August. So I'm trying to understand what the timeline it was in regards to what we're watching now, because I know they normally film during the summer. So I'm wondering when exactly this was being filmed. Was this before Scheana's wedding? When was Scheana's wedding? You guys will let me know in the live chat or in the comments section, because that will be a really great way of, because if they had already started the affair during Scheana's wedding, that means all of what they were doing, because we do see in this episode finally where Rachel's just like, I just can't stop thinking about kissing you because she brought it up. And he's like, so the timeline would make a little bit more sense in regards to what's playing out here. It might have been before. So, anyways, he said that he knew about a one night stand that Tom Sandoval had with Rachel in August. He says that he thought it was an emotional affair until January when Tom Sandoval told Schwartz he was in love with Raquel. After January, Sandoval became, quote, flagrant and brazen with the affair. So I wonder what other people have seen. I know a lot of the cast are, they have their own podcast and they're talking about this and they're saying that there's been signs. There have been signs. He says in January, Sandoval became flagrant and brazen with his affair. Schwartz says that Sandoval told him he tried to end a relationship with Ariana multiple times. If you watch, see, this is the benefit of watching the old seasons right now. I've said this before during my recap. I feel as if Tom Sandoval is such a punk. He's not able to just end a relationship on his own. That's why he dealt with Kristen for so many years. They would cheat on each other. It became this toxic situation, only to repeat that same situation with Ariana. Okay. So he said that he tries to end the relationship with Ariana multiple times. Schwartz says that the mom mentality is getting out of control, which we can all agree. It really exists mainly in the Bravo world, and I can agree with that. I can agree with that. He says he's mad at Sandoval for putting him in a, quote, compromising position. He always putting himself in a compromising position because he's the town idiot. Sorry, Schwartz. Schwartz says Sandoval is addicted to Raquel. Quote, she is his heroine. I don't get that. What is addictive to her, Tom? The newness of it, the physicality of it, because let's be honest, Raquel doesn't offer much intellectually. And I'm sure, very much like what Jackson said, I do agree with this, that it's something he can control. Ariana's too smart for him. Ariana's too mature for him. So at this point in his life where he still has not matured, how many years you guys have been watching him? He has not matured emotionally or physically. Physically, because he stinks, allegedly. Andy kept calling out Schwartz for touching his face. Schwartz said that he didn't know about Sandoval and Rachel when he kissed Rachel. Okay, so this is helping my timeline. So when he kissed her during Scheana's wedding, he did not know. So this is before August then. Ariana eviscerated Sandoval and Rachel at the reunion, more Sandoval than Rachel. Schwartz says that Sandoval told him he was going to tell Ariana after the reunion. Why after the reunion? Why after the reunion? Oh, because so it wouldn't play out on television? Tom, you're not helping yourself here. Schwartz says that to give Sandoval a hug if you see him. He said that during his TMZ interview a few weeks ago as well. Oh, it's okay. I don't want to hug Tom Sandoval because allegedly he smells. I also don't want to hug him because what you want us to feel sorry for you because you cheated on Ariana, and the worst way to cheat on someone, to cheat with someone that you both considered a very close friend and were there for it during her breakup. Yeah, we'll pass. Look, we'll pass. But at the same time, I'm not going to yell at Tom Sandoval if I saw him in the street. I probably would ignore him. I'm not going to be like, oh, you're a terrible human being, go to hell either. I can do that here. And he can choose whether or not he wants to watch and put himself into that position. But I don't know. I don't know. Schwartz, you probably are better off not doing interviews. I don't know what. Do you guys enjoy Tom Schwartz being on Vanderpump Rules? What does he add to the show? Based on what I've seen and watched over the last couple of seasons, if he didn't exist on the show, look, Anyways, I want to know your thoughts. I want to know how you would rate the latest episode. I want to know your thoughts on Tom Schwartz on the reunion. Are you looking on the reunion on Watch What Happens Live? Are you looking forward to the Vanderpump Rules reunion, which should be coming up very, very soon? What did you think of their outfits? Who do you think was best dressed, worst dressed? Let's have that conversation in the comment section. Thank you to our King's Guards, to the members of the channel. To become a member, head on over to TheKempire.com. And for everything Kempire, TheKempire.com for our podcast. Our visual version of our podcast will be on the Kempire Radio YouTube channel, and our shorts are going to be on the Kempire Shorts channel. And I might be posting some of the content that I've been filming here, there, first. So be sure to subscribe to Kempire Shorts here on YouTube. Thank you again, all of you, for being patient while we are slowly but surely still giving you content even on vacation. Hope everyone's well. Happy Passover, happy Easter, and happy Ramadan. Can't forget about that. It's a very, very religious time. Guys, as always, be sure to like the video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all in the next video.
You bring the light. I got the fuse.